Looks like I just woke up from a nap, and I did. All right, welcome everybody. We just got beyond our limits of the video. We're probably live now.
Yeah, I think we're going now. Yep, cool. All right, hello everyone. We have comments there. Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Hello, Alicia. How are you today?
Good. Are you awake?
I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay, good.
Nothing like a good afternoon nap.
Uh huh.
The
To
brain needs it.
recharge.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
There's a little. Sorry.
Looks great. Yeah. So beyond all limits.
So what are we doing here?
Beyond all limits.
Okay.
It's something like this is what we talk about a lot. It's a core message to Breathe and Believe is the empowerment and to just breaking through those obstacles that we tend to put in our own way. So many things like if there's like a goal that you want to achieve, or maybe like something that you want to do, but you just don't think that it's in you, like something that you're going to be able to do. Most of those times, like we put those limits on ourselves. That's we are actually capable of doing much more than we've ever really thought that we can do, and science is proving that. But we end up convincing ourselves that we can't do that, and so that's what we teach.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a foundational element of what we teach is like, no, we have the power to be everything that we want to be, to move beyond those.
Beyond human.
Yeah, you're right. Superhuman.
Yep. Because it affects us in mind and body and in spirit. I think of that saying, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And when we realize that, what that means is that we're way beyond this world. We're way beyond this physical form, this flesh.
Yeah.
The limits of the self.
Right.
Right? But at the same time, this gives us the gift of life. This gives us the benefit of being able to experience all the bliss, all the joy, and all the wonders that we get to experience in this lifetime. It's just, I love it.
Yeah. And we sometimes get so focused on like the here, or not even the here and now, but more like the day to day monotony of life that we forget to tap into that spirit, like the actual purpose of why we are here, or like the meaning of life, because we're too distracted to actually look into that. So then when we're doing that, we're just going through the motions. I often think of like the hamster on the hamster wheel. We just do it day in and day out. And then we lose that connection to that spirit, the spirit of why we're here, and like the prana of life, you know, like why. And when we can tap into that, that's when we can really like incorporate every part of our being into this life that we were gifted.
Wholeness. So what are we going to do about that?
Breathe and believe.
So this weekend, we're offering I think they're the first Wim Hof workshops in South Dakota and Iowa. I might be wrong about Iowa, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be South Dakota. Yeah. But yeah, so I got my certification, my training, so I'm pretty excited about it because I get to teach something that someone else teaches, that it's someone else's thing, it's some other thing, and I'm honored for it to be Wim Hof, right? I wouldn't do it if it wasn't the best of the best, and what he's put together is just so powerful. And so I'm looking forward to like stepping out of my sort of traditional role of sort of this mystic teacher and just being I'm a Wim Hof teacher now. He did the work, and I'm gonna teach what he's all about. But in that same right, I mean, it's pretty much the same stuff we already do already. Yeah, so it aligns right with it.
So tell us about the 3 pillars of the Wim Hof method.
The 3 pillars, it's the breath, it's the cold, and it's the mindset. And I think people are always like, the cold like freaks them out. Like still, like I'll talk to people like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just like, dude, that's your opportunity. Like it's like, I get it. Like most people, we don't like cold, and the reason is because we've just become so lazy in every comfort and convenience that we don't want anything to challenge us, literally. And that's the problem. Like this is the problem, is that we are afraid of challenge. And what I love about the Wim Hof method that's so different about so many of these other mindset modalities is it's stepping into this, like literally stepping into the fire. It's stepping into the challenge and saying, hey, I'm doing this. I'm taking this leap forward. I'm taking this challenge, this risk. And what we get in return from that is that beyond limits. It's literally that, ooh, okay, I'm way beyond what I thought I was. So breath work, we've been doing that for years, and yes, absolutely, I breathe every day, knowing breath work and doing it, especially the Wim Hof method. But the cold is a total opportunity. Um, and so if you have resistance to the cold, it's like, that's good. I mean, that's what we want.
Right.
And like even yourself, you're
Right.
like, I'll never do it. And she sees me
Right.
in the pond, like, glowing. And then finally she goes, you know what? I'm going to do it. And she did. And I couldn't get her out of the pond. I couldn't get her out of the cold. We were in there for 25 minutes. Seriously, 25 minutes in freezing cold water.
And if you look at the science of it, it's like even if that's all you want to take from it, that's fine. Like you are toning your vagus nerve. There's such health benefits from it. But for me, it's deeper. It becomes like it's definitely a meditative experience. But it becomes the metaphor for life because that is moving beyond my limits. I have Raynaud's. My fingers literally, they still do turn white. They don't have the pain that they once had. So I know that it's improving. But so it's so painful for me to get in the cold. That's why I'm like, that's your thing. I'll do my own thing. But once I embraced it, it really is that learning to accept the hardships of life. And instead of having that resistance, you open the flow and then and that's the metaphor because life is hard. We all have challenges in our life, but when we resist it and we create so many more problems for ourselves. So when we can have that practice of just accepting the thing that our body is naturally designed to fight because it literally thinks it's going to die, then we can accept it and just be like, no, this is all pain is relative, right? And then we can be like, no, and your mantra is good, like, because I like it, right? Isn't that what you say?
Yeah, because, well, tell yourself that and it's a lot easier. But what I've found with the cold is that, I'll be honest, I'm a polar bear. I've always loved the cold. But every now and then when it's like 30, 40 mile an hour winds and like gnarly, and the snow and all this stuff, and I'll get that little hesitation of like, oh, I don't know right now, and that little hesitation in me creates this resistance and a little bit of fear, and then I start to get cold and I start to say no, and that's when I'm like, all right, I'm ready. This is what I'm here for. And when I have those little no, like resistance, and then I actually decide to push myself to do it, that's when I have those experiences where I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it's always good, but when you're pushed to that limit. Yesterday I walked from the house down to the pond, which is about a 5-10 minute walk. And it's windy, super windy. There's no more snow, but it's cold. It was 34 degrees. And I got in for about 5 minutes or so. And then I walked back, and it was intense because it was like 30, 40 mile an hour wind, relentless. So the whole time I was in the elements, a good half hour at least. And I got home and I was like, oh, that's so amazing. So like literally, like, it's crazy. Our body is designed to like make us feel good, but we tend to rely on things outside of our body to make us feel good, like drugs, like weed or whatever. And so, but all the substances, everything that a substance gives us, like dopamine, endocannabinoids, anandamide, oxytocin, all these feel good chemicals are in us. They're not in the actual, like, sure, we're getting it, but we can get it from natural sources. We can get it from the cold, and we get it from breath work. So when we breathe and we do the cold, we're activating feel-good chemicals in our body. And the more we do it, the more we feel good.
Right.
The more it's like, woo, here we go.
Right.
Like, yeah.
It just like really amplifies our ability to feel sensation, whatever that is. And because you're doing the practice of accepting the hard, like if you do feel something like discomfort of any sort or the natural feelings of life, then you're just able to, you have just a different perspective. And so they don't like take you under, you just allow them to process through. And it's
they don't take you under, they elevate you.
Right,
they put you like, and then you're in that you get that unstoppable sort of concept in your head where, dude, if I can do this, I can do anything. And so like little challenges in your day, then maybe not taxes. But you take those, everything that you come up against in your day, you can you have that extra bit of resilience to overcome. So
yeah. And I like the breath work. I mean, that's a core to what we teach at Breathe and Believe, but everything revolves really around our nervous system. Like when we think of a lot of our physical illness, so our body, and then our mind or mental illness, and then even like spiritual, it's all connected to our nervous system. So we have like the vagal toning breath work. It's because we understand that the vagus nerve is really our connection. It's why we have the caduceus as our symbol. It's like that's the connection between the mind and the body and spirit. And so the breath interfuses with that, and it's the way we tap into our nervous system. If you have trauma, your nervous system is affected. If you are under a ton of stress, your nervous system is affected. Anxiety, all of these different things, it's a dysregulation of your nervous system. So you might need, like, there might be people on medication to help regulate the nervous system so that you can show and go into the world and be functional. But we have a lot of power over the nervous system, and the breath is the easiest and most powerful tool to tap into that,
Yep.
to retrain our nervous system so that it's not so sensitive to the struggles, or it's better tone, so we're able to handle all of that. And so that's the vagal toning breath work, and it's just so, it seems so easy because it's just breathing and we're all doing it, but most of us are doing it improperly. And even in yoga, we're taught to take a deep breath, and here we find out, like, well, that's probably the worst thing we could be telling people because it's actually creating more problems in our body.
But yeah, people rely on a deep breath to that's the good way to breathe, and it's not. Like, well, yeah, we're gonna take deep breaths when we do sympathetic activating breath work, like hypocapnia type breath work. But when we're in our normal day, we're gonna breathe nice and long and slow through our nose. We're gonna nose breathe. So I mean, there's so many things with breath work. And the breath is really like the initial sort of preparing ourselves for that intensity, and then the intensity is the cold. So it's weird. It's cool. The benefits of the breath and the cold are very similar. They're literally like almost parallel, right? Like you're looking at what you get out of breath work, the intense breath work, and what you get out of the cold, and they're almost like lining it right up. It's crazy stuff. And then, but on top of all that is mindset. Mindset's number one to everything. That's the third pillar. And
it's our belief.
Yeah, that's the power now. It's meditative mind. That's the flow state. And so that's key more than anything. So what we're doing literally is we're training ourselves to understand what the flow state is and the meditative mind is so that we can access it more readily in our day. So if you're an athlete, or if you're a performer, or if you're a meditator, or if you're just a business person or an entrepreneur who experiences a lot of stress, anything where you need calm, resilience, and balance and cohesion in your life, the more we do it, the more we're training ourselves to do it. The breath is absolutely foundational. It's like the foundation, but like the cold is like the pyramid, the pinnacle on top.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm addicted to it now. And it's all good. It's a good addiction for sure. So, brings out the best in us.
Yeah, for sure.
And then what else do we have coming up?
We have our certification. We're doing another training. So another group is coming up on April 7th. We're starting. And so this gives you the opportunity. So if maybe this is just super interesting to you and you really want to dive deep into it, and that's exactly what we provide, because we go into like the foundation of why as humans do we have all of these problems. And it's super easy to go off in this direction and this direction, but there is an underlying commonality between it all. Physical, mind, spirit. What is it? So we go into that, and that's where we start. Like, that's the under the iceberg thing. And then we build off of that. And then once you understand that and why we have, like, we call it the human condition, and why we have these problems as humans, then we teach about the breath, and we go to the basic, like, cellular level. So you understand, wait, what? We're not supposed to breathe deep. We're supposed to be breathing light, and why? And then once you understand that, it will shift the way that you, like, every day breathe, which will shift everything in your life. And so when you understand that, like, if that's something that you just want to do for yourself, like, it could be life changing. But if you want to do it and then you want to bring it into, like, if you already have an existing career, or maybe you help people in whatever capacity, teacher, coaches, healthcare professionals, life coaches, yoga teacher, there's whatever, I mean, about anything, because we're all working with people, but you can bring that into that and just really amplify what you're doing. Or we have a couple of people who are just starting off as breathwork coaches and just doing that for a job. So whatever it is that resonates with you, but then we will teach you how to do some of these breathwork practices, you'll understand the foundation so that once you go out into it, you understand like, oh, if I breathe this way, it'll help with this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we put that together, I feel like, very nicely, so that, and we're there for you so that you feel ready when that time comes for you to go out and spread your wings.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive for sure. I think we're both in the same boat where we want to learn about everything. We're kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
once we find something, we're like, okay, we want to learn it. So we got the full spectrum. There's so many different breaths. I love Wim Hof. It's very powerful, but it's not the only breath. There's so many. There's a lot of people that are doing the Wim Hof. They'll be like, oh, but I'm still feeling anxiety, and it's like it's because, it's a stressor breath, and so understanding the basics of it. So like,
Mm-hmm.
so if you're gonna do a stressor breath like the Wim Hof, start with a parasympathetic breath first, ease your way into it, then do it, and then ease your way out. And also knowing the difference between hypocapnia and hypercapnia, so that when you're doing hypocapnia, you balance it out with hypercapnia. One's flushing CO2, the other one's raising CO2, and you want to create, they both have different benefits, so we're bringing that balance in. So there's so many different aspects of the breath, like literally, and there's a lot of breath coaching stuff out there online. I get that, it's everywhere. For us, it's like, so let's make it as simple as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but also as comprehensive as
Yes.
possible, but also as effective as possible. And I do believe that what we offer is in terms of those three things, ours is simple, comprehensive, and effective as it gets.
Mm-hmm. We have a
Right?
lot of respect for the other things that we see,
Absolutely.
but every time we
Yeah.
see something, we're like, oh,
There's something missing.
it makes us excited
Yeah.
because we're like, we got that.
There's something always, there's a little
Yeah.
missing here and there, and we want to all, and we're always learning about more. We're always out there reaching, and like Wim Hof, oxygen advantage, Kundalini, shamanic breath work. We're
Psychology,
trained in
yeah.
all those different things. The basics of it, the psychology of it, the understanding the human condition, to me, is number one before anything. If you're doing any mindful based training or practice whatsoever, and you don't understand what the human disease is, if you don't understand duality, and if you don't understand subjective object duality, and that's what we're and trying to and reaching wholeness instead of self separation, it's like we're kind of focusing on the symptoms and not the cause. And if we keep focusing on the symptoms, we're not going to address the cause.
Mm-hmm.
And you can miss the key point. You can spend years and years and years practicing,
Mm-hmm.
like years and years and years, and you won't. And I've met so many people. It's like, how do you get there? How do you get there? And it's like, you got to understand the underlying condition we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have that awareness of the underlying condition, we're not addressing the cause.
Right.
And it's, why waste our time with so much energy and work if we're not really getting to that fundamental
Mm-hmm.
level?
And we can spend so much time on the symptoms, right? And there's so many different things that we
You
can
make a
explore
lot
with
of
that.
you can make a lot of money on the
Make a lot of
symptoms. That's the
money.
problem.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really easy to make money on symptoms.
It really is. And
Yep.
and it's interesting because what we teach is very much like empowerment for you. We don't want you to rely on us. We
Mhm.
want to teach you about yourself so you understand you, because you are the expert of you. You might not believe that yet, but once you start tuning into that, and the more that you do the cold therapy and the breathing, you start to actually feel it and you embody it. And then you don't need yes, you will always go to like different experts for certain things because that's just part of life, but you will be able to hear what they're saying and you'll be able to be like, no, that's not true for me,
Mhm.
versus like, yeah, that does feel true for me. And so it's all about teaching you how to be your own guru.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're like,
Oh, yeah.
we just want to
Yeah.
empower people is
Mhm.
basically what we're all about.
Yeah, it's a good thing if we train a student and we don't hear back
Yes.
from them. we like that. We know that
They
we've
got
done
it,
our
yeah.
job. They're out of the nest.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that process is humongous. Part of that process is the work, is doing
Yeah.
the daily practice, and so part of it is the daily reminder. It's like that comes first. You doing the work and knowing it within yourself before you go out and teach someone else. So
Yep.
we require that you do a daily practice with the training,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, so you know the benefits yourself.
Right.
That's something that is in my Kundalini training. Like, my Kundalini training was so golden, so epic, so unbelievable, because they press the integrity, they press the daily practice, they press the things that mattered in this world the most:
Mm-hmm.
commitment, integrity, like your responsibility to yourself, before you sort of bring that out to the world with others.
Mm-hmm. And you really do, like, if you're going to be a teacher in something, you have to feel it so
Mhm.
that you can be the most effective teacher, because then once you know it, you believe it. then you will want to share it, and it's so authentic and real, and you will just draw in those people that are looking for it because they see the changes in you and they want what you have. So that's really, I mean, and you will see those changes in your life when you dedicate yourself to breathwork practice.
Yep.
Mind, body, and spirit.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's great. So
yeah. And if you want to sign up, we have a discounted price until the end of March. So that's about a week away already.
I know.
It's not too far away. So definitely check that out.
Yep, it's a good group. We got a good little group so far. We'd love to have a couple more join, and it's a good community experience. We meet on Wednesday nights for 2 hours, and then everything's online. Everything's recorded. If you miss it, it's always recorded. There's a couple free coaching calls in there offered to you.
Yeah.
You can always email and everything. We're there for you 100%. So I'm looking forward to it. It's our favorite thing to do.
It is.
Yeah. For sure. But right now, we're going to go get in the river.
That's our
I'm ready.
thing to do.
Yeah. The mighty Mo.
Uh-huh.
All right, everybody.
Well,
have a wonderful
good rest of your evening.
Wednesday. Yep.
All right, bye. Well,